There's nothing more frustrating than being out on the water, finally hooking into that fish you've been chasing all morning, only to have your rod snap or fail when you need it most. I've been there way too many times, and it's exactly why I decided to put 8 of the most talked about fishing rods through their paces this season. I spent months testing these rods in everything from calm lake conditions to raging river currents, and I'm about to share exactly what I discovered. The best rods don't just cast well, they give you that confidence to fight big fish, the sensitivity to feel every tiny bite, and the durability to handle whatever you throw at them. Whether you're a weekend warrior or someone who lives for the next fishing adventure, I've found options that'll genuinely change how you experience time on the water. Before we dive in, make sure to check out the links in the description for the latest pricing on these rods. And if I manage to snag any discount codes during my testing, you'll find those down there too. Let's get into it. I have to admit, I was skeptical about the PLUSINNO carbon fiber telescopic when I first pulled it out of the box. Telescopic rods have burned me before with terrible action and poor sensitivity. But after 3 months of testing this thing on everything from mountain streams to coastal fishing trips, I'm genuinely impressed with what they've accomplished here. The portability factor is just insane. This rod collapses down to 17.5 inches, which means it fits in my backpack, my carry-on luggage, and even my motorcycle saddlebags. I've taken it on hiking trips where every ounce matters, and it's never let me down. The extension process takes literally seconds, and you're ready to fish. What really shocked me was the sensitivity. I expected that typical telescopic rod deadness, but I could actually feel lure movement and detect subtle bites. I caught everything from small trout to decent-sized bass, and the carbon fiber construction held up beautifully. The rod definitely feels more substantial than other telescoping models I've tried. My main gripe is the lack of creature comforts. No hook keeper, no fancy features, just basic functionality. I also ran into that sticking segment issue a few times, but only when I got too aggressive extending the sections. If you travel frequently or need maximum portability without giving up too much performance, this PLUSINNO is a solid choice. The ugly Stick GX2 is exactly what you think it is, and that's not a bad thing. I put this rod through absolute hell during my testing because, well, that's what it's designed for. I'm talking about bushwhacking through dense undergrowth and rocky scrambles. And yes, I even used it as a hiking stick a couple times when the terrain got sketchy. I accidentally whacked this thing against tree branches, dropped it on rocks, and even had it stepped on by my buddy during a night fishing session. It just keeps working. The combination of graphite and fiberglass creates this weird sweet spot where it's strong enough to handle abuse, but still flexible enough to fight fish properly. I tested it on high mountain lakes and tight creek situations where precision matters more than distance. The light action works beautifully with both small spinners and live bait presentations. The performance isn't going to blow you away if you're used to high-end rods, but it's completely adequate for the situations where you'd actually use something like this. I caught plenty of trout and even some decent bass without feeling like I was fighting the rod. My only real complaint is that it looks and feels pretty basic compared to more modern designs. But honestly, when you're miles from civilization and your gear absolutely cannot fail, basic and bulletproof beats fancy and fragile every single time. I picked up the Garcia Veritus LTD specifically because I do a lot of lake fishing, and I needed something that could handle both trolling applications and casting from shore. After using it extensively on everything from small ponds to massive reservoirs, I can confidently say this rod excels in stillwater situations. The medium light power rating is absolutely perfect for the kind of fishing I do on lakes. I've used it for everything from casting live minnows to trolling with downriggers, and it handles both applications beautifully. The rod has enough backbone to set hooks at a distance, but stays soft enough to detect those subtle lake trout bites that can be so easy to miss. I was throwing heavy swim baits and big soft plastics way out into the depths, and this rod delivered both the casting distance and the sensitivity I needed. When I hooked into some serious cutthroat, the Veritas had the power to bring them to the net without making me feel like I was going to break something. If you primarily fish lakes and reservoirs, this rod should definitely be on your radar. I've been consistently impressed with how versatile it is while still maintaining that specialized feel that makes lake fishing more enjoyable. Let me tell you about the 13 Fishing Omen trout/panfish rod, because this thing is an absolute weapon in fast water situations. I fish a lot of rivers with serious current, and most rods just don't have what it takes to maintain control when you're dealing with both strong water and strong fish. The Omen's stiff action initially felt almost too rigid when I first picked it up, but once I got it on the water, everything clicked. The lack of flex translates directly into casting accuracy that's honestly impressive. When you need to thread a lure between rocks in heavy current, this rod puts your presentation exactly where you want it every single time. I tested both the 5.5-foot and 7-foot models, and both excel at giving you the leverage you need to control fish in challenging water. I hooked into some serious trout in fast-moving sections, and the Omen's backbone meant I could actually steer them away from structure instead of just hoping for the best. For anyone who regularly fishes fast water, challenging rivers, or situations where you need maximum control, the Omen is worth every penny. The KastKing Perigee 2 completely changed my expectations about what you can get for the money in a fishing rod. With 42 different configurations available, there's literally a Perigee 2 for every fishing situation you can imagine, and I've tested several of them across different fishing scenarios. What really impressed me was the power transition system in the two-piece models. I was expecting that typical multi-piece rod disconnect, but the power flows smoothly throughout the blank. It honestly feels like fishing with a one-piece rod, which is remarkable engineering for this price point. I've used different Perigee 2 models for bass fishing, trout fishing, and even some saltwater applications, and the performance has been consistently excellent across all scenarios. The value proposition is just incredible when you consider the component quality and performance you're getting. I've recommended this rod to more people than any other in this lineup. Don't let the compact size of the Ugly Stik Elite fool you into thinking it's just a toy rod. I grabbed this one specifically for situations where portability matters, but after extensive testing, I'm convinced it's one of the best small fish rods you can buy at any price. The balance on this rod is absolutely perfect. I can fish with it all day without any hand fatigue, and the weight distribution makes it feel like an extension of your arm rather than a tool you're holding. What really surprised me was the fighting power. I hooked into several fish that seemed way too big for such a compact rod, and the Elite handled them beautifully. The versatility impressed me too. Whether I was fishing with live worms, small spinners, or tiny jigs, the rod adapted perfectly to different presentations. But for its intended purpose of targeting smaller species in close-range situations, the Ugly Stik Elite is genuinely excellent. It's become my go-to rod for pond fishing, small stream trout, and any situation where I need something compact but capable. The performance-to-size ratio is just outstanding. After months of testing, the St. Croix Triumph Travel stands out as my top pick, and it's not even close. This rod nails everything: incredible sensitivity, outstanding casting performance, and true portability without sacrificing strength. The sensitivity is next level, letting you feel every bite and bottom detail like never before. Casting, smooth, accurate, and long-reaching every time. The 4-piece design with a travel case makes it perfect for trips while feeling just like a one-piece when assembled. A premium cork handle, flawless balance, and top-notch build quality seal the deal. Sure, assembly takes care, and guides need gentle handling, but those are tiny trade-offs for what might be the best travel rod out there. If I could only own one rod, this would be it. That's a wrap on the best fishing rods of 2025. If this helped you, hit that like button and drop a comment on which rod you're excited to try. I love hearing from fellow anglers. New here? Subscribe to Consumer Picks and hit the bell for more gear reviews. Until next time, tight lines and happy fishing.